Fred Vasseur and the Ferrari team have been facing a true storm throughout the 2025 season. The performance of the current car, which was designed to be competitive, has fluctuated intensely, and the promises made at the beginning of the year have turned into frustration. Everything indicates that the team's management based in Maranello may be quietly exploring options for leadership that no longer include the Frenchman. With recent signs of dissatisfaction from Lewis Hamilton and rumors that internal efforts are already focused on developing the car for 2026, an inevitable question arises. Is Ferrari truly considering replacing its team principal? And if that replacement does happen, has the upper management completely lost faith in Vasseur's leadership? From the very first race, Ferrari's results have fallen short of expectation. Much was said about the potential of the car, and Hamilton's arrival created a wave of optimism in Maranello. However, the reality has been tough. The team has yet to win a main race, aside from sprint events, and although it currently ranks among the top in the Constructors' Championship, this position does not accurately reflect the team's real performance during race weekends. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton have been constantly struggling to remain competitive, facing issues ranging from chassis balance to strategic missteps. Hamilton, in particular, has shown impatience with the current situation, being very direct in his criticism during interviews and press conferences. In this tense environment, persistent rumors have emerged, suggesting that Ferrari tried to approach Christian Horner, current team principal of Red Bull Racing, to lead the Italian squad. The idea would be to spark a revolution similar to what happened with Hamilton's signing, which was also seen as a bold move. Although Horner publicly denied any contact, the mere fact that this rumor gained traction suggests that the team's president, John Elkann, may be seriously considering a dramatic change in direction. The expectations set by Ferrari before the season were massive. There was a widespread feeling that the team would finally return to fighting for championships, especially before the new technical regulations come into effect. However, what followed was a series of disappointments. On multiple occasions, Ferrari wasn't even among the top 3 fastest teams on the grid, which has sparked growing frustration among drivers, engineers, and fans. In such scenarios, the responsibility inevitably falls on Vasseur, who, as team principal, must answer for everything that happens both on and off the track, even if he is not directly to blame for every mistake. The most critical point in this crisis is undoubtedly the current car project. Although it was developed with a focus on aerodynamics and balance, the car shows persistent flaws that remain unresolved. Several upgrades have been tested throughout the season, but none have delivered the performance leap the team so desperately needs. At a certain point, the team must question whether it makes sense to keep investing in something that offers no practical return. Theoretical potential does not win races, and that's precisely what Ferrari's car lacks: the ability to turn promises into concrete results. Another factor that worsens the situation is the gap between pre-season expectations and on-track reality. During winter testing, the team made it clear that the goal was to fight for both championships. This message was repeated by team members and drivers in multiple interviews, which created enormous public pressure. When reality doesn't match the narrative, the criticism becomes even harsher. And with both drivers voicing their dissatisfaction, the internal trust begins to erode. Hamilton, for his part, has been pressing the engineers to shift their efforts toward developing the car for 2026, as the current machine seems increasingly unlikely to deliver success. The British driver pointed out that the car is extremely difficult to tune, and the rear suspension compromises performance whenever additional downforce is applied. This leads to instability during high-speed corners, affecting both qualifying and race pace. Hamilton's frustration is understandable, as he finds himself caught in a cycle of trial and error with no real improvements, where each adjustment seems to create more problems than solutions. Competing with McLaren and Max Verstappen under current conditions feels nearly impossible. And if Mercedes, which is also navigating an unstable phase, manages to develop an efficient package before the end of the year, Ferrari risks being overtaken again, further deepening the crisis. That would place Vasseur in an extremely vulnerable position in the eyes of management and the motorsport press. Even amid so much scrutiny, Vasseur tries to maintain a confident tone. After the Spanish Grand Prix, he emphasized that he'd rather be in second place than lower down the order. He mentioned that after the Chinese round, where the team was disqualified, they managed to recover and surpass direct rivals. He also claimed that the last few races showed improvement, but acknowledged it's not enough, since Ferrari exists to win, not just to compete. The focus, according to him, must be on matching McLaren's pace, especially during the first 40 laps, where performance tends to be more critical. In the Barcelona race, Leclerc achieved a podium finish after starting from 7th position, a result that was only made possible by the safety car and a risky strategic choice from Red Bull. On the other hand, Hamilton experienced the opposite, being overtaken by Sauber in the final laps under pure race pace. A symbolic event considering Sauber's limited budget. Seeing a 7-time world champion surpassed by one of the slowest teams on the grid is a clear reflection that something is seriously wrong with Ferrari's project. When discussing his performance, Hamilton didn't hold back. He said it was one of the worst races of his career, especially in terms of car balance. Even while acknowledging the team's effort on strategy, he stated he had no idea why everything went so poorly, and that Ferrari likely wouldn't find any answers. This statement shows that his trust in the team's technical structure is eroding. It's disheartening to see Hamilton in this situation, especially since his hiring was viewed as a turning point for Ferrari. He was not brought in just for his fame, but because of the expectation that he could lead the team into a new era of success. If 2025 is shaping up to be a forgettable season, hopes rest on the upcoming ones. But that depends entirely on how the team reacts and whether changes in leadership will be made. Right now, Hamilton seems hopeless. The car remains a mystery, and even with Vasseur trying to defend him, patience is wearing thin. When asked again about the issues, the team principal tried to play down the situation, saying that panic should not be based on a driver's immediate post-race comments. He emphasized that Hamilton spent most of the race ahead of Russell and only lost ground in the final stint. Even so, he avoided giving details about the exact cause of the problem, which only increases doubts. Vasseur's reluctance to clarify what's going on with the car raises suspicions that the team itself does not fully understand the flaws of the project. That's worrisome, as time is running out and opportunities are slipping away. Considering that Ferrari arguably has the best driver pairing on the grid, the current results are extremely frustrating. Had they started the season as a solid second force, fighting McLaren on equal footing in qualifying, the criticism might not have been as severe. To make things worse, Hamilton's drop in race performance has become more noticeable. Nico Rosberg, the only teammate to beat him in a full championship, commented that Hamilton's latest performance was alarming. He said it was difficult to watch such a slow showing from the British driver, something very uncharacteristic. He speculated about potential floor damage, which is a very sensitive part of modern F1 cars. When not even the driver can understand the loss of performance, the situation becomes even more difficult, especially when his teammate finishes on the podium in the same race. In the end, one thing is clear. Ferrari is at a crossroads. Behind the scenes in Maranello, pressure must be building, because this is certainly not the path envisioned at the start of the season. A great deal of energy was invested, resources were allocated, and expectations were high. But no results have been delivered. That applies to both drivers and the factory staff. Is this the moment when Fred Vasseur's time at Ferrari comes to an end? Only time will tell. In the meantime, let's watch closely to see if the team will take more drastic action behind the scenes. And what do you think about all this? Leave your opinion in the comments below, and right after that, click on the next video now appearing on your screen.